Happy Father's Day to all of the men who love, support, and provide the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being of others. Fatherhood is more than biologics. When Larry and I lived in the Cayman Islands, I had the opportunity to be the Father's Day speaker in 2014. Today, I would like to share that message with you. Fatherhood encompasses a lot of things. I would like to share 4 things that my father did that impacted my life greatly. The first thing that my father did that impacted my life was to pray for me. 1 Thessalonians 1 and 2 says, "We give thanks for you all, making mention of you in our prayers." My dad praying for me was the most important aspect of our relationship. What God's sunlight is to plants, your prayers are to your child. Just as God's sunlight is essential to the healthy growth and development of a plant, a father's prayers are essential to the healthy growth and development of a child. Growing godly children involves depending on God in prayer. It is possible to pray and not really depend on God, but it is impossible to depend on God without praying. There are many stages in a child's life. They crawl, they walk, they run, they go to school, they learn to drive, they date, they leave home, they get married, and they become parents themselves. Covering our children with prayers is the best way that they can be completely protected. That is not to say that hurt, harm, and danger is not going to affect their lives. However, praying for our children's safety and protection is paramount. Prayers can provide a sense of comfort when they are young and when they become adults. The second thing that my father did to impact my life was to provide for me. 1 Timothy 5 and 8 says, "But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever." It doesn't mean that you have to give them everything that they want. That's one of the worst things that we can do as parents. He provided me with everything I needed, taught me the blessing of wanting, working, and waiting for material things. Providing for your children by giving them too much is just as bad as not providing for them at all. The third thing that my father did to impact my life was to listen to me. Proverbs 1 and 5 says, "A wise man will hear and increase in learning." Give them your undivided attention, not with one eye on the TV and the other eye on them. Put down the cell phones and other electronic gadgets. When they have a problem, when they are worried, when they're scared, when they're sad, when they're lonely, they don't need cartoons or video game or their best friend's dad. They need you. Get involved with your children and know what's going on in their everyday lives. Listen to them. Even when they're not saying anything, they're speaking volumes. Be the kind of father that they can come to and say anything that's on their mind without being criticized for it. If you listen to them when they're small and their problems are small, then they'll come to you when they're bigger and their problems are bigger. The fourth thing that my father did for me that impacted my life was to spend time with me. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." It is important for fathers to spend time with their children and families. The gift of time gives a lifetime of returns on the investment. You can give money. You can always make more. You can give gifts, but they may or may not be appreciated. But once time is gone, it never returns. If there are any fathers who are listening to this message and struggling and having to sacrifice time to provide, it's not too late. Take the baby steps to earn your children's trust back. It's never too late. Be humble. Make a phone call. Start with a letter and apologize for being absent. Plan a time where you can share a meal. Be humble to recognize that today is a new day and you can move forward from here. So you're asking God, your responsibility is it's godly responsibility. I know some fathers may be thinking, how can I provide for them and spend time? Well, thank you for asking. Be creative. Go to their schools and have lunch with them once a week or once a month. Be intentional. Put it on your calendars like we do meetings and other events in our life. We have to make it a priority. Spend time with them when they're young. Spend time with them on the floor, giving them horsey rides, taking them to places, and doing memorable things. I want to share a story about an event that I experienced with my father. When I was 14 years old, my father took me on my first date. We went to this really nice restaurant. It had linen tablecloths. It was just beautiful. And I could order whatever I wanted. And he even let me have a little bit of wine, but he told me not to tell my mother. And the point of this was for my father was to raise the standard, to raise the bar, to have that expectation, not as I began to date, but the caliber, because nobody outside of the gate can take, I wouldn't say nobody. It's kind of a challenge to take someone right out of the gate to a fancy restaurant. But to have those intentions, to have that expectation, to know that you're worthy, that's the seed that my father planted in me that day. And did I fall off the mark? Absolutely. Absolutely. I decided to go royal dining after that point. Burger King and Dairy Queen. However, today, I am proud to say that I have the most amazing man who my father put my hand in his and assured me that he was going to take very good care of me. And he definitely was speaking the truth that day. The last thing I would like to leave is a quote that I tweaked by Maya Angelou. Children won't remember what you said. Children won't remember what you did. Children will always remember how you made them feel. I'd like to say happy Father's Day to my husband, Larry Griffin, and all of the fathers in my family and friends. God bless you. Do something fun today if you can. Pick up the phone if your father's still around, if you can, and just enjoy time with your family and loved ones. Happy Father's Day.